أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So in our lesson today, we shall be talking about training and development. This will be our last lesson in this course, the human resource management. So just a recap of what we were doing in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we were talking about employee recruitment and selection. We define what recruitment is, what selection is, the importance of both recruitment and selections, and the objectives, the processes that are involved. Now, in our lesson today, we shall be talking about training and development, and this will be our last lesson. So tomorrow you will be doing your quiz, then you will be doing your final exam you'll be doing your final exam next week. And also you have an assignment that you have to submit, and the deadline is the 31st of this month, May. Now, what's your question, please? You've raised your hand. What's the problem? So this will be our lesson's objectives today. So by the end of this lesson, you should be in a position to define training and development, explain the importance and objectives of training and development, understand how to assess training needs, then describe how to design a training program, including content and material, then identify various training methods and techniques, then lastly, how can we evaluate the effectiveness of a training program? So this is in brief what we shall cover in this lesson. So as we start, it's very important to define what training and development is. But before we define training and development, you have to know that in our last lesson, we were talking about recruitment and selection. Now, when we are through with the recruitment and selection, and the employees are already working in an organization, so good organization will always have training and development programs for their employees. And these training and development programs are very important because they sharpen the skills of the employees, and also they prepare the employees for the changes that normally happen in both the internal and external environment. Now, there are two words here. There is training, which is known as a tadrib, and there is development. Development in Arabic is known as at-tatwir. So what is the difference between at-tadrib and at-tatwir? So in an exam, you can be asked the difference between these two words. So number one, at-tadrib, which is training, is a planned process Training is a planned process by which employees acquire job-related knowledge, skills, and behaviors to perform the current job effectively. So when we are talking about training, it is all about acquiring skills that are related to the job. That is the knowledge, skills, and behavior to perform their current job effectively. So when we are talking about training, training is short-term. So we are training employees only focusing on their current job, while a tatwir refers to activities that help individuals grow and prepare for future roles. So the difference between training and development is training is current. We are just training you so that you can have some competencies, you can know how to deal with your current job. So training is short-term. But when you are talking about tatwir, it's all about an-numu. It's all about growth. We are preparing you for the future. So it is focusing on long-term professional growth. So that is the key difference between training and development. So for example, a cashier learning how to use a new billing software, that is training. So maybe you are in an organization, you are in a company, there is a new software. So when employees are being trained on, when employees are gaining the skills of how to use the software, then that is training. Then, for example, a junior manager attending a leadership program, it's development, because the leadership program, it's a long term. We are preparing this junior manager for the future senior roles in the organization. So that is the difference between a tadrib and a tatwir. Now, what is the importance of these two programs? Why should we have the training and development programs in any organization? What is the importance of these two programs? So number one, enhances employee performance and productivity. So the training programs, they normally help to improve the performance and productivity. So الرفع في المستوى الماذا الأداء, and if we want the intajia to increase, then we need to train our employees. Many organizations, they are facing a lot of problems nowadays, performance problems. And these performance problems is because their employees, they are lacking some skills. So they are lacking, and because they are lacking the skill, the performance is going down. So if the organization, they want to improve their performance, then they need to train them so that they can improve their skills. If their skills is better, then productivity will increase. Number two, reduces errors and improves work quality. So good trainings help to minimize the errors. If, for example, we train the employees on how to use the softwares, so there will be no errors, or we are going to minimize the errors. And also will improve the work quality with good training. Then number three, it boosts employee morale and job satisfaction. So when employees are trained, they will gain what? A thicker confidence. So they will have the confidence, and they will also be satisfied with their job. So organizations that offer training programs, you will find that most of the workers, they are very satisfied. Why? Because they believe that the organization is giving them opportunities to progress, opportunities to grow, opportunities to develop themselves. But when you go to organizations where there are no training programs, what happens is that employees are demoralized, they are not satisfied. Then number four, facilitates career growth and succession planning. So training and development programs, they help to do what? To facilitate career growth and succession planning. Succession planning, because when you're working in an organization, they prepare you for future managerial position. So if the manager today dies in your organization, if your manager retires, then there are people who are well trained to replace them. Then lastly, increase organizational competitiveness and adaptability. Al-miza at-tanafusiya. Remember, you are not just working alone in the environment. You are competing with many organizations. So if you want to be competitive, you need to do what? You need to train and develop your workforce. That is why you find that many successful organizations, they're spending a lot of money, they're investing a lot in the department of training and development. And adaptability. If you train your employees, they will adapt. Remember, we are living in an environment that is changing very fast. So the better you train your workforce, they will be ready in case of any change. So for example, regular training for university faculty on new teaching technologies improves student engagement and outcomes. If we train our workforce, if we train our teachers, for example, in the university, what will happen? They will be improved student engagement, and the performance of the students will improve. Now, what are the objectives of training and development? So the objectives of training and development, number one, to close performance gap. If the performance is not okay, if the performance is that bad, we train our workers so that at least the performance can improve. Number two, to prepare employees for higher responsibility. This is what we talked about, succession planning. We are planning them for the future jobs in the organization. Number three, to ensure consistent quality and service standards. So to ensure that the quality we are giving to our customers, they are consistent. Consistency means they are the same. And also the standards are the same. So we don't want a situation where you go to the hotel, today this is the standard, this is the quality, tomorrow the quality is different. So this is inconsistency. Or in a university, some teachers are teaching well, some teachers are not teaching well. So there is inconsistency in the way the teachers are teaching. So we don't want that. Then to promote innovation and continuous improvement, al-ibda. If you want your employees to be creative, train them. If you want al-madha, if you want continuous improvement, also you need to train your employees. Then lastly, to support organizational change initiatives. So if you want, because in any organization, we normally have changes every month, after every 6 months, after every year. So when we are expecting change in an organization, we also have to train the workers so that when the change comes, they are ready. But if we don't train them, what will happen? When the change comes, they are going to resist. Why? Because they were not ready actually for the change. So they will resist. So if you want to minimize the resistance, you need to prepare the workers by training them. Now, another thing that is very important is what? There are these three words that students normally confuse. So there is training, there is development, and education. So are they the same? No, they're not the same. So what are the differences? Number one, the focus. So training, as we said, it focuses with today, how you're supposed to do your current job. Development, it focuses with your future roles. Then education, it is broad knowledge base. It is all about al-ma'arifa, giving you knowledge. That is education. So for example, when you go to school, you graduate, you get a certificate. That certificate, that is knowledge you've gained. Then the time frame. The training is short term. So sometimes you can have in an organization 2 days training program, 3 days training program. But the development it's a long term. It's continuous. Then education is until you die. So you cannot just sit today and say, no, I have enough education. No. Education is from mahad ila lahad, as it has been elaborated in a hadith. That is, education is from the day we were born until the day we are going to our graves. Then what is the objective of training? Is to improve performance. What is the objective of development? Tatwir is to enhance your potential. Then education, it is all about intellectual growth. It is building your brain. So for example, the example of training, when we are training, software training in an organization, then the development, for example, seminars, then examples of what? The examples of education is what? University degree. So if you go to a degree, and for example, if you graduate with your master's, that is an example of what? Graduation. Farhia, why do you like this Farhia, you like putting your camera on? I don't know why. You just like when people see your face. Farhia, You like it when people see your room, your private room? Can you switch your video, please? Now, the next thing is about what? The next thing is about training needs assessment. So what is the meaning of training needs assessment? Before any training in any organization, what we have to do is it is what is known as tahlil ihtiyajat at-tadribiyya. And this step is very important. But many organizations, they don't do this process. So at-tahlil al-ihtiyajat normally answers the question, do the workers need the training? So we give the training that the employees need, not what the management need. Sometimes you find that the management of the organization, what they do is they just force, they just come with any training. Oh, next month we shall be having a training in communication skills. Next month we shall be having a training in reporting skills. But the key question is there a need? These workers, do they need a training in what? In communication? Because maybe you want to train them in communication, but their need is in leadership training. They need a training in teamwork. So before you start any training, you need to find the need of the training. What is missing? So that is the only time you will be able to fill the gap. So training need analysis is the process of identifying the gap between current employee performance and the desired performance to determine if training can bridge that gap. So when we are talking about training needs analysis, we compare two things. That is, number one, what is the current employee performance? And number two, what is the desired performance? Then what is the gap? So the gap means, so we need to fill the gap. So it ensures training is relevant, targeted and cost effective. So when we do a training needs assessment, we shall ensure that the training that we are giving our employees is relevant. They need it. Number two, targeted means it focuses with something specifically. Then number three, it will not be expensive. So that is the advantage of training needs assessment. So these are the importance of what? These are the importance of the training needs assessment. Number one, prevents unnecessary training. So when we do a training needs assessment, we avoid the trainings that the employees, they don't want. So we focus with only the key areas, the priority trainings. Number two, aligns training with organizational goals. We will offer only the training that aligns with our strategies. Number three, it improves employee performance. And number two, the return on investment. So what is the meaning of the return on investment? When you are doing any business, what do you want? You want profit. So for example, today when you're opening a shop, what is the return? Return on investment. You need some profit, because if there is a loss, you will close the watch. You will close the shop. So the training is an investment. So from this investment, we want to improve the performance. If the performance is improving, the profit will improve. If our profit is not improving, it means we wasted our money. And this is what many organizations, they normally do. They waste a lot of their money, their resources in training, and the workers, there is no improvement. Then number four, it helps allocate resources wisely. So we put the money in the right basket. We put the money where there is value. We put the money in the right training. Now, Look at this example. If, for example, we're in a company or a university, if customer complaints are rising in a university's finance office, many students are complaining about the finance office. So if there are a lot of complaints from the finance office, training needs assessment may reveal a need for training in communication and service handling. So because many students, maybe they are complaining about the finance office. So in this case, maybe the person who is in finance office, he is not or she is not good when it comes to communicating with the student. So as a university, we can decide to have a training that will help our finance officer. Okay. Now, what is the process of doing training needs assessment? Or training needs, so in some books it is assessment, in some books it is training needs analysis, but it is just the same thing. So number one, identify the problem or need. ما هي المشكلة? The problem is the students are complaining about the finance office. That is the problem. Now we gather data. We collect more information because we want to know more. We need to have more insights about the problem. So we will give the students some questionnaires. We will interview the students to ask them, hey, Jama, what exactly are you complaining about the finance officer? What is her problem? So they will answer the questionnaire. Then after that, you will analyze the performance gap based on the data you have. You will analyze it so that you can know exactly what many students, you will know where many students are complaining. Then after that, you will do what? You will determine training objectives. Training objective means you will know exactly the type of training, where you need to train. Then lastly, after determining the training objectives, recommend appropriate training solution. Then you recommend the type of training, maybe training in communication, maybe training in report writing, maybe, and maybe, and maybe. There can be very many types of training. So this is in brief. There are different models. So this is the first process. If you go to some sources, they will give you this as the process. So number one, define organizational goals. Defining organizational goal is identify the problem. This is what they mean, non-behavioral influence. So you need to define ما هي المشكلة, ما هي الأهداف, what do we want to achieve? Then number two is define relevant job behaviors. Number three, define required knowledge and skills. This is the same as defining the objectives. This is the same as determining the training objective. Then lastly, the training. The training is recommend appropriate training solutions. So these models, they're just the same, but they're just explaining it in different way. Now, on to the next thing, which is also very important. The training need analysis. So when we are doing the training needs assessment or analysis, there are three levels. There are three levels. The first level is the organizational level. Number two, operational level. Number three, individual level. So number one is the organization. So this one involves assessing the specific skill gaps and learning requirement within a company to align training programs with its strategic goals. So when you are talking about the organizational level, we are talking about every person in the organization. What kind of skills should they have? Because remember, as an organization, we have our strategic goals. So here we are asking ourselves, what trainings will help us? What kinds of training are going to help us as an organization to achieve our goals? So here, the organization is like the person. So this organization is going to be trained. So this is what, so we assess the specific skill gaps in the whole organization. Okay, number two. Number two is operational. Focuses on evaluating the training and development needs of different departments. So for example, if our case is Alpha University, organization is all the departments at Alpha University, all the faculties. They need one kind of training that is going to help Alpha. But operational is very different. The faculty of business administration, maybe their training needs is different. If you go to nursing, the faculty of nursing, their training is very different. So this is the meaning of operational. So in an organizational context, maybe the department of marketing, their training needs is different from the department of production. And the training needs for department of production is different from the department maybe of what from the finance department. So operational means each and every department, they have their unique training needs that are different from the other department. Then number three, individual now. So it is at an individual level, you as Muhammad. So it identifies the unique skills, knowledge, or performance gap of individual employees, enabling personalized training plan. So these are the three levels. So in an organization, there is the personal. Muhammad as one person, what kind of training does he need? What weaknesses is he experiencing? Then the operational, maybe Muhammad is working at the marketing department. So what are the needs of that department? Then organizational, this is the whole organization. What is the training needs? So these are the three levels. So this is basically what they are explaining here. So about organizational analysis, for example, a university wants to increase research output. So training faculty in research proposal writing may be necessary. So a university, for example, Alpha University, they want to improve their research output. So this is a training for all the faculties, because all the faculties, they need trainings. Look at the task analysis. The task analysis is the operational analysis, analyzing what IT staffs need to maintain a new campus-wide learning management system. Then the person is the individual analysis. For example, new academic advisor needing orientation on student counseling procedures. Now, on to the next part. What are the methods for assessing training needs? How can we know that there are gaps in the organization? What tools can we use? Number one, surveys and questionnaires. This is what is known as case studies, dirasatul hala, and what? Istibianat. First way to collect employee feedback on skills and knowledge gap. So the HR department, it normally prepares some questionnaires. Through this, they distribute the questionnaires to the workers, employees. And the employees, they will answer the questionnaires. And so from this feedback, the HR manager will collect back the questionnaires. Then from that, the HR manager will know where the gaps are, and they will prepare trainings based on the feedbacks. Number two, interviews, mukabalat shaksiya. The HR can meet with the employees and have interviews with them. Or number two, there can be focus groups, where when you're talking about focus group of 5, they sit together and they generate their needs. Then performance appraisal. Performance in every organization, the HR manager at the end of every year. So in some organizations, they evaluate the performance of the workers every year and they get the report. So that report can help us to know where the employee needs training. In some organizations, they evaluate the workers after 6 months. In some organizations, they evaluate after 3 months. In some organizations, every month, the HR manager is evaluating Mohammed. The time, when did you attend? Okay, did you submit your report? Okay, did you attend the meeting? So all these areas you are evaluated. So through the performance appraisal, we can know. Then observation, the HR manager can, or your manager can just see the way you are working. And from the way you are working, they can know you are struggling in which areas. Then test and assessment. So sometimes you can be given tests, or simulation to evaluate knowledge or ability level. They give you a computer. Okay, this is the software. Can you operate? Or this is the car. Can you drive? So when you are doing the test, they can easily monitor you. Now, what are the challenges in training needs assessment? What are the challenges? So number one, sometimes there is incomplete or biased data. So sometimes we are analyzing the needs, but we don't get enough information from the employees. So we don't know what they want. Why? Because we don't have enough data or information. Or maybe we have the data, but the data is biased. Bias means it is not fair. It is very subjective, not being objective. Number two, resistance from employees or management. Sometimes there are some people, they don't want training. So there is the cultural mindset of some people. They think that training is a waste of time, or they think that they know. Some people, when they graduate, so they think that if they cannot go for any training because they think they know everything. So they resist the training programs. Then time and resources constraints. Sometimes many organizations, they don't have enough money to invest in these training programs. Then another problem is to do what? Another difficulty is linking training needs to business outcomes. Sometimes it is very difficult. Like how can you know, how can you measure that our profits increased because of the training? It is something that is very difficult to measure. Like how can you know that it is because we trained this person, that is why the performance has improved? So sometimes it's very difficult. Then misunderstanding of actual and perceived needs. So sometimes there is some misunderstanding of what is the actual need and what is the perceived need. So these two things, sometimes they can be very confusing. The actual is what I need, fi'lan. The perceive is what I think I need, but actually I don't need it. But I just think. So sometimes you just think, wow, I just think I need a training in communication. But you don't have any weakness in communication. Maybe it is just pressure from your friends. Some people are attending training in communication. So you are also going to attend because people are attending, not because you need. So that is what is known as perceived. So you think that you need it, but in reality, maybe you need something in report writing. So that was the first part. Now, the other part of our lesson is about the training program design. So now, Khalas, we have analyzed the need. There is a need. There is a gap. So the next thing is what? The next thing is to design the training program. So what is this? So training program design is the systematic process of planning and structuring training to ensure it meets specific learning objective and performance goal. It involves setting the goals. Okay, we have already decided we need a training. What are the goals of this training? Okay, number two, choosing the methods. Will it be online? Will it be offline? Then we prepare the content. The content, will it be soft? Will it be hard copy? So we need to prepare the materials for the training. So what is the importance of this training program? Why do we need to plan for our program? Number one, ensures training is focused and effective. Number two, aligns training with organizational goals and employee needs. Number three, enhances learning retention and skill application. So learning retention means you remember. So, and remembering is all about the training methods. So some people, they normally prefer lecture training. Some people, they prefer workshops. Some people, they prefer online. So everybody has his or her own preference, which helps them to retain. Retain means to remember, to apply the skill or the knowledge. Then promotes cost efficiency and measurable outcomes. If we plan well, we are going to save a lot of money. Now, setting the learning objective. For every training, there is a learning objective. So for each and every training, we need to do what? We need to define what learners should know or be able to do after training. So before training, the objective should be very clear. Just at the beginning of this lesson, at the beginning of every lesson, there are some objectives. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You should be able to name 1, 2, 3, and 5. So we will use these objectives to measure if the training was successful. And they also do what? They also guide the content, delivery, and assessment. And the most important thing is our objectives should be SMART. That is, the objective of our training should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Look at this objective, for example. By the end of the training, participants will be able to prepare a research proposal using APA 7 style. So this is an objective that is very clear. There is no remove. It's very clear. Now, selecting training methods. So the method depends on learning style, content complexity, audience, and resources. So we have 1 minute remaining. We'll continue after the break. So after the break, I will explain more about this. But before the break, when you are selecting the training methods, number one, you need to know the learning style of your audience. And when you are talking about learning style, what we mean is that some people, they learn fast by seeing. So we call them visual learners. Visual learners, they learn quickly by seeing. So when you are training visual learners, your content should have a lot of pictures. So they don't want a lot of words, they want a lot of pictures. That is why you will find in some trainings, all the slides are just pictures. Because there are some people, they learn by seeing. Then we also have audio learners. Audio learners, they learn a lot by doing what? By listening, the audio. So these are the people, they like lectures. They can just sit and listen, you know? Then number 3, we have kinesthetic learners. Kinesthetic learners, these are learners, they like doing. So when you're training, they want to be part of it. They want